I'm here with Trevor Congable and some of his students at Winfield Mount Union, and we are talking about the Industrial Tech program. So to start, how long has the Industrial Tech program been at Winfield Mount Union?
WMU's had the Industrial Tech program for a long time. In the beginning of the 2000s, it went half-time for a bit, but then came back, and we have been full-time for quite a few years.
And what are this could be either you or your students who answer this one. What are the opportunities, or at least some of the opportunities, that the program offers students?
I'll let the students answer this question.
Real life skills that you can use in the work field or any other trade, and stuff that really will pay off in the long term.
And then it also gives you something in case something doesn't work out in your future life. It gives you something you can always fall back on, and will always need someone like a carpenter or a welder, that you always have a job.
And then it gives you skills that you need just do stuff on your own at home.
So specifically speaking, you had mentioned carpentry, welding. What are some of the skills that you feel like you've developed since joining the program?
I've definitely gotten a lot better at doing geometry and stuff like that, because you use angles so much. I've become a lot better at perfecting, making sure everything's done right, taking my time with it. I used to rush through everything. Now I take my time, make sure everything's lined up the way it needs to be, look it over. More on the welding side, definitely would be fabricating side. If let's say I mess something up, break something, I can always make a part if I can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of hands-on skills and just stuff that you can produce and make sure it's quality and not garbage or whatnot.
And is that's a welding hoodie that you're wearing right now?
Yeah, it is.
Very appropriate. All right. I think congratulations are in order on your recent second place finish at the Carl A. Nelson Skills Challenge. So what skills were you able to showcase at this competition? And, from me, someone who could probably find a way to use a hammer incorrectly, what do these competitions look like?
Well, we got to do a lot of welding and cutting angles and making a lot of precise measurements and making sure, that the measurement was correct based off the thickness of the material and the distance, on the plans and whatnot. And, what's the second question?
We also, to give you a visualization, we were in a little shop, and so we only had so much room to work with. And so, I did more of the welding, I was in the back, and I'm glad I practiced, did a lot of fillet welds where the metal's like a T-joint, it's teed together, and we had quite a bit of just butt joint welds where they're just together and you had to weld a seam across. It gave us a lot of time also to practice any gap welding, because some of the angles weren't 100%, and that's not, it's just what it is, and you gotta fill it in, you gotta get it done.
Yeah.
So,
And was it more an individual project, or was this you together as a team were working on the same thing?
It was definitely more of a team project, because there was a lot of work to be done in a few, small amount of time, and so you got to have someone doing the cutting and then someone doing some grinding and welding, and then I cut out the stair stringers, and then Preston, did the treads and whatnot, and those two did some of the cutting and grinding, and so it was more of a team effort.
yeah.
And I'd imagine that the communication would have to be very fluid, especially when you're working with these tools that could potentially be dangerous. There's people moving around. How important do you think that was to be able to communicate with each other efficiently?
Very good. There were sometimes, you'd be working on your own thing and you'd get it done, and one of the guys would call you over hey, I need your help real quick. Run over there, help them real quick. You know what you're already doing because they've been explaining what they're doing for the past 15 minutes. You know what to do, how to help them, and you get it done real fast.
Yeah, communication was definitely important, because we had to time manage, because we only had 4 people and all the other teams had 5, so I think we did good on communication.
Communication is probably one of the most important parts, because if we didn't communicate, we wouldn't really have known what each other was doing and wouldn't have got it done as fast.
All right. So switching gears a little bit, this question, Trevor, is for you. You've got a YouTube channel with, there's at least hundreds of videos on there, and it covers everything from woodworking to welding to, even something like handling anxiety. What has that journey of creating this channel looked like for you, and how has it connected to your classroom teaching?
Yeah, sure. The journey was kind of just some way to showcase student work when it started. And then when the COVID shutdown happened, I was teaching carpentry that was also a dual credit at SCC, and they said you have to keep creating content, and they couldn't really specify what that looked like. And so I was actually working on my own house at the time, and so I would just record the things and then put that on YouTube and then have the students watch that to learn. And so that's where it kind of really took off, and I realized how impactful and how productive the YouTube channel could be in my own teaching. And so with that, I had produced welding videos before, and then I started producing videos on everything to help with demonstrations. Because a lot of times with the industrial tech, a demonstration is worth a lot, allowing kids to see what needs to be done. But a student can't always get as close. If I have a class of 15, it's hard for half the class to see exactly what's going on because of everyone all gathering around. But with a video, I can show and I can zoom in on parts and really get to the information and allow the students to see what's going on. So it's really been helpful with my own teaching, and especially if I'm gone, like the day that we were at the skills competition, I'll have the content that I want the students to know and learn, and I'll have a video that they'll watch and then write a summary so they tell me what they learned, and so I could see if they understood it.
And I'm sure the substitute teachers are pretty happy that they don't have to handle a welding torch in their position. So I imagine that benefits a lot of people to have those videos around. Have you ever had somebody come up to you and say, hey, I've seen your video and it really helped me, build this or accomplish this project?
I haven't had anybody in person come up, but I have had comments on the YouTube channel where someone says, hey, thanks for that video. I understand this better. And I get quite a number of comments, and some are very interesting, and some are, it shows how people are being helped by them.
Right. And you'd mentioned showcasing projects on that YouTube channel. Gentlemen, this question for you: what are some projects that you've worked on either this year or through the industrial tech program that you really enjoyed?
Last year, like in carpentry, we built a porch for a guy, and that was like really fun because we did quite a bit of stuff that I had never done before, and you had to be pretty precise with it because otherwise, it would just look completely wrong. So that was a good learning experience for that. I really enjoyed doing that. We also built a staircase, which was really fun because that was the first time doing stairs, which are actually pretty difficult, I guess, interesting.
Yeah, we framed a wall in a basement last year, and I thought that was really cool because the wall wasn't. It was you had to find some hard angles and cut them and frame it all up correctly, and I thought a challenge was really fun. So
I learned a lot off the porch that we did last year, just making all the cuts and everything for it.
Are there any competitions coming up or any events coming up that you're excited about or that you'd like to promote?
Yeah, there's a welding competition down at SCC, I think March 20th in there.
31st.
31st.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'll be really fun because we've done it the last couple of years. So
Yeah, I always enjoy going to those. Even if I don't place or anything, I still enjoy it because I find it fun to, weld in a different spot, talk to different people, and sometimes, the instructors there will come and talk to you about it and give you some tips on it, and it gives you just a little different perspective.
All right. First of all, I appreciate you all taking the time out of your day and best of luck with the future competitions going forward. And I want to finish with any advice that you would give students who are interested in being a part of the industrial tech program.
Just show up and do your work, and if you have any questions, ask Mr. Congable, because he'd be more than glad to explain it to you. And just produce quality, and if you can't, just try your hardest.
Yeah. I would say, do the projects that we are supposed to do, because we always have a couple projects before you can do your own free projects, and they really help teach you quite a bit. And it actually, a lot of people, they may just not really care about it because it's not what they want to do, but it's important for you to do because you learn something you haven't done before, and it really helps you in the future when you want to make something on your own. You're like, oh hey, I've done this before. I remember that last year when I did that at the beginning of the class. Now I know exactly what to do, and you knock it out in one day.
Yeah, don't break anything either. That's a common habit.
Show up to class and focus on what you're doing and what you're supposed to be doing and how to do it so you don't mess stuff up.
Be safe.
Wear your safety glasses.
Trevor, you have anything to add before I end the recording?
Yeah, I would. I would like to encourage all students to give industrial tech a chance. Sometimes it seems scary, but I think all these guys would tell you that it's not that dangerous. We're very safe, and we have a lot of fun. It's I tell students sometimes, and I tell parents, that we kind of just play with a purpose. And so we do a lot of things in here that after people get out of high school or college, they do for a hobby. And so you can have a lot of fun in industrial tech, and you're getting good skills while you're having fun.